in Kentucky, the sheriff accused of gunning down a judge inside the judge's chambers is heading back to court. All eyes will be on Kentucky tomorrow when Shawn Stines will return to court for a preliminary hearing.
Now, he's accused of killing or shooting to death District Judge Kevin Mullins inside of his chambers in Letcher County Courthouse on September 19th. This is the 911 dispatch of that shooting.
36-2 needs to be around to Letcher County Courthouse. That shot's fired on the second floor. Shots fired on the second floor.
Last week, Stines pleaded not guilty during his first arraignment. The judge also addressed Stines' claims of indigency and needing a court-appointed attorney.
Do you believe you'll be able to obtain counsel to represent you on these charges within those 10 days?
I hope so. It's kind of hard, where I'm at, have contact with people I need to.
I don't believe you do at this time qualify as for public assistance due to the fact that you aren't indigent. However, based on the circumstance of this case and the fact that we do need to have a preliminary hearing within 10 days, I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you for the limited purpose of assisting you at your preliminary hearing. If and when this case does proceed to circuit court, the circuit court may require you to hire your own counsel. Do you understand that, Mr. Stines?
Yes, sir.
All right, as of today, Stines has a new defense team. Jeremy and Kerry Bartley will now represent him. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear called for Stines to resign by the end of the day last Friday. And if he didn't, Beshear said that he would begin the process of removing him.
And that seemed to work. Today, Stines submitted his resignation letter. His attorney said in part, Mr. Stines has made the difficult decision to effect his retirement as of September 30th of 2024. This decision is made not as a result of any ultimatum or in any way as a concession to any allegations made by the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Rather, Sheriff Stines has made this decision to allow for his successor to continue to protect his beloved constituents while he addresses the legal process ahead of him.
And the news of the shooting left residents and those closest to the judge in disbelief.
Many of you are aware of the close personal relationship I had with Judge Mullins. You may know, for example, that we, for many years, were married to a pair of sisters, that his daughters are my nieces, and that my two oldest kids are his niece and nephew. We were for many years on opposite sides of the courtroom from each other. He was the assistant Commonwealth's attorney when I was the public defender. We had fierce litigation. I respected him. We fought hard for our respective sides in court and tried cases against each other before he was the judge, and never had a disagreement outside of that courtroom. We have always got along. I always thought he was hilarious. I always thought he was very witty. He was fun to be around outside of court. And as a brother-in-law, I will never forget how kind he was to my children. It seemed that he had maybe endless patience for kids. He found them entertaining. He loved them. He was kind to them. He would do anything for them. And everything that I'm going to talk about today is in the context of somebody that I will always appreciate and respect for how he treated my children personally and how he was as a father to his beautiful daughters.
Yeah, we're very tight-knit. It's sad all the way around. I think everybody's kind of mourning in their own way.
It seems like everybody knew the two gentlemen involved.
Very well. We have one of the only restaurants downtown, and they frequent often, and were very good to us, both of them, so no negativity from my end.
What was your reaction when you heard the news last week?
Very shocked, very shocked.
Now, officials still haven't come up with any motive for the shooting, but witnesses say the two men had lunch together the day of the incident and had apparently gotten into some kind of argument.
In a separate legal matter, Stines is being sued by a woman who accused him of failing to properly train a deputy who sexually assaulted her. Her attorney spoke with Court TV about just that.
When the shooting occurred, my first thought was, did this have anything to do with the allegations? You know, there's been some public media reporting that apparently Sheriff Stines made some sort of cryptic comment that this may have had to do something to do with his wife or daughter. I don't know. But one wonders, you know, 3 days after we took this deposition, which the allegations are, from our perspective, serious, and, you know, in fairness to the defendants, they deny the allegations. 3 days later, you have this astonishing event. Have we ever had a sheriff before kill a judge in the courthouse? I mean, this sounds like a John Grisham thing.
We will take you live to Kentucky in our next hour.
All right, joining us to discuss is criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Marie Peretta. Marie, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining us and being in studio with us. Always a pleasure to have you. Let me begin by the letter by the sheriff removing himself or stepping down. I thought it was pretty magnanimous in light of the fact that he shot someone. I'm surprised he even was allowed to keep that job or would have been allowed to keep that job.
Listen, we have a lot of people who have even been convicted of felonies who are running for very important jobs. So I want to say that maybe there's a process and they had to give him notice. But the way his attorneys crafted the letter, he's basically maintaining his innocence. And he's saying, I'm stepping down, not because I'm afraid of anything or I did anything wrong. I intend to really fight these charges to the fullest extent of the law, and I'm considered an innocent man. That's what all the in-between lines of that brief 2-sentence letter said. I'm innocent.
But the reality in this case is, I don't think there's any contesting. He's the one that shot the judge. It's not who did it, it's the why, what transpired. We don't know any of that yet. But is it a hard defense to say, I'm innocent, when you're the only one with the judge in chambers and you shot him?
We don't know, because he could come out and say that the judge went and grabbed for his gun after they were having an argument. Clearly, there was some salaciousness going on, and one person didn't want the other person to say something. And I do believe that it's connected to the deposition because of the proximity and the time of the deposition to the time of this murder. So we don't know what his defense is going to be. Not every homicide is without a defense. He could say, I was defending myself. We have to wait until that prelim to see, you know, who's going to show their hand first. But he is presumed innocent, even though, you know what? It looks like you said, who else did it? It was only the two of y'all in there, but maybe there's some reason for him to think he's innocent.
Marie, let me ask you, his new attorneys came out and said that, you know, the defendant has a stellar reputation, which I think we've heard about leading up to this time, that he had done a good job in the community, didn't really have any issues in his past, and he deserves a vigorous defense. Will it be helpful to him that he does, in fact, have a stellar, or what appears to be a stellar reputation?
Absolutely, because they're going to try to show that this was an aberration for him. So either way you look at it, even if he's going to come up with some crazy self-defense defense or heat of passion defense, the fact that the person has no history of criminality in his entire world does work in his favor, for sure.
Well, that's what's kind of wild. We know he was well respected, no history according to most. And then you hear like that interview with the brother-in-law, the judge described as hilarious, witty, kind to the children, kind to his daughters. So you have two people that so far the descriptions we've heard are good pillar community members, and yet we have this shooting.
That's why it makes me think that it was something shocking, and I want to say it was related to this thing that was going on with the person who pled guilty and who's now being sued civilly and dragging Stines into it. I think it has something to do with it. It has to, because of the swiftness of the murder, the violence, the unpredictability of it. There was something going on that we didn't know about. This case is going to be salacious, a bombshell.
Yeah, because when I think about this case and the allegations about the use of his office, I don't think it's a coincidence, Marie, that his office was chosen, right? There's a lot of ways to go about doing that. We've heard of other deputies doing that, asking for favors, et cetera, from women who are in, or even men, I guess, at some point. But they chose his office, a judge's office, to do this. You've got to think that there's a lot more behind the scenes.
Absolutely. There had to be maybe some complicity. And again, we don't know. We're only speculating. It's our job to be legal analysts, but something is going on here. And I believe that somehow maybe the judge was involved or threatened to say something, but I believe there was some conspiracy, complicity, and somebody didn't want to get outed. And that's what happened in there.
Are you surprised that the motive hasn't come out yet? Because while we don't know it, while we haven't heard of one, you know they have something in mind based on the beginning of the investigation.
I think, you know, this is a very important case. This has never happened before. So the prosecutors don't want to show their hand. They want to make sure that they conduct a thorough investigation so that when they come up with something, it makes sense and it adds all the dots, because it's a direct case, but it is a circumstantial case when you try to piece together the motive.
Yeah, and I bet you all the people involved in this want to keep quiet. They have nothing to gain by stepping out of this, because I can't believe that it was contained to just 3 guys.
I agree.
There's got to be some other people involved. But one thing I do want to say before we have to take a break here is when they were going through this idea of whether he was indigent or not, or was eligible to get a criminal representation, a public defender, he talked about the fact that he has the salary, which is going to be gone now, but he does have a home, he has some real property. I want people to understand, Marie, when you get charged with a crime, you know, this is what happens. You've got to, anything you own goes into defending yourself, and you could pretty much end up losing it all trying to defend your innocence, defend, you know, your situation.
Absolutely. Not only do you lose your job, you lose your income, you most likely are going to lose your wife, okay? There's going to be a divorce situation. I promise you his wife is not going to be like, I'm standing by my man no matter what. Something's about to go down. You're going to hear his wife divorce him, kaput.
I don't know, I disagree. I think if it's for altruistic reasons, she may stand by him. We don't know yet what his defense is, but I just wonder if there's not more to this story that we just haven't heard.
Oh, of course there is.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. All